I want to thank you so much for being here today. I'm Annika Osborne, and I work with Cool the Earth, an environmental nonprofit dedicated to reducing carbon emissions and air pollution. You might know us through our EV and e-bike program, Ride and Drive Clean, and today we're excited to take that work further with our newest initiative, Electrify My House. Before we dive in, I like to say that everyone's journey to home electrification looks a little different and is on a different time frame. Last year, my family completed ours. We fully electrified our home and removed our gas line entirely. It feels great. I also want to note that I am not a technical expert, but I do have firsthand experience with the process, and I'll be sharing those personal insights throughout our time together today. I am joined by my wonderful teammates, Carlene, Kevin, and Scott, who will be active in the chat, answering your questions and sharing helpful links along the way. And we will also be joined by my colleague, Rebecca Milliken, as well as volunteers from Rewiring America's, they're Rewiring America electric coaches who are volunteering their time today and in the future to help as many people as possible go electric. They'll be sharing some links along the way as well. They are all wonderful resources. I'm so happy for the collaboration in this presentation. So here's our agenda for today. We'll start with the benefits of home electrification and move on to home energy and electrification, kind of a framework that we've put together. We'll do a deep dive on the various aspects of this framework and then review incentives and how to find out which ones you qualify for. We'll share actions that you can take today if you live in an apartment or a condo and help you get started with resources. And we'll finish with a live Q&A. So we will be going over lots of information today, and not to worry, we'll be sending out a PDF of this presentation in our follow-up email, which will also have lots of handy links. And if any questions come up, feel free to ask them in the chat, and we'll answer them throughout the presentation, or we may save some for the Q&A if that makes more sense. We'll make sure everyone is muted so that there are no interruptions throughout the presentation, and you can ask your live questions at the end. All right, let's dive in. There are so many compelling reasons to electrify your home, and now is a great time to get started. Gas appliances pollute both inside and outside our homes, so switching to electric means healthier air for our families, and that's especially important for young children and older adults, whose lungs are the most vulnerable. Modern electric heat pumps deliver steady, reliable temperatures in every season, and as our summers keep getting hotter, efficient cooling becomes a necessity for many Bay Area residents. When you pair smart electrification with solar and efficiency upgrades, the savings can really be significant. Many families see their monthly energy costs drop dramatically. And if you've lived through a PSPS event, you know the stress of losing power. A solar and battery system and an EV can keep your home running through those outages. No noisy gas generator required. Every upgrade you make moves you farther away from fossil fuels and meaningfully lowers your household's greenhouse gas emissions. It does add up. And the Bay Area Air District has set clear deadlines. Starting in 2027, all new water heaters must be electric. And by 2029, that requirement extends to all new heating and cooling systems. These changes are coming, so the best time to start planning is now. Things may change, and the final vote on these mandates will take place in November. Okay, so this slide shows a framework for electrifying your home. And most important thing I want you to take away today is deep breath. You don't have to do it all at once or in any particular order. We've organized it into 4 sections, and I want you to note that this is not a linear recommendation, just 4 different four different aspects of home efficiency and electrification, and everybody does this in different orders and on a different timeline, as I sort of mentioned before. So, reduce. We can start by simply using less energy. There are many no cost things that we can do starting today. You'll actually save money. Efficiency. A tighter, better insulated home means more comfort, savings on your energy bill. Also, your electric appliances won't have to work as hard. Solar and battery. So at some point, you may be ready to generate and store your own energy. A battery lets you hold on to excess solar power from the day and draw on it during peak rate hours, typically from 4 to 9 p.m. And electrifying your appliances. This is kind of the fun stuff, in my opinion. At any time, you can replace gas appliances with electric. And if you've already reduced your load and added clean solar energy, those appliances will run more efficiently and cost you less to operate. So this framework is a helpful guide, and your path will depend on your home, your budget, and your priorities. What matters most is that you're making smart, sequenced choices that make sense for you and your home. Okay, so we'll kick it off here with talking a little bit about how we can reduce our energy. So the cheapest energy is the energy you don't use. And this slide is full of small changes that add up to real savings. None of these require a contractor or a big investment. They're things that we can start doing immediately. Shorter showers. So hot water heating is one of the biggest energy draws in any home. I know that when my teenage daughters are at home, well, they're more college age now, but when they come home to visit, there's a big difference. Cutting your shower by just 2 minutes makes a difference. Um, Smart window coverings. Your shades are actually an energy tool. Close them in the summer to block heat from the sun and open them in the winter to let that free solar warmth in. Layer up. So every degree you lower the thermostat reduces your heating bill. Put on a sweater before you reach for the dial. It sounds simple because it really is. And it makes me kind of giggle a little bit. My executive director, Carlene, is here. We have had many meetings at her house. And, we all bring our puffer jacket, in the winter. We don't want to use too much energy. So it's something that, trying to, walk the walk a little bit there. Kill air dry laundry. So dryers are some of the hungriest appliances in your home. So line drying towels, sheets, and bulky items adds up quickly. I just came back from a little bit of time in Europe, and throughout the time I stayed in a variety of Airbnbs. None of them had dryers. Um, Even when I was staying in my family's homes, cousins' homes and stuff, nobody has a dryer. They use drying racks and they use the sun. So I've started since I've been home. I have the drying rack out and the clothesline out. And for bulkier items like towels, I'm at least doing like 90% of the drying on the clothesline. And then the last 10%, bring it in and fluff them up a little bit. So that's an easy one. Kill phantom loads. So your electronics are drawing power even when you're not using them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So unplugging chargers when they're not in use or plugging into a smart power strip cuts that hidden waste. This is a big one for me. Shift to off-peak hours. So most Bay Area residents are on a time of use plan, which means the time of day you use energy affects how much you pay for it. So running your dishwasher, doing laundry, and charging your EV during the day when solar is peaking is better for the grid and for your bill. And for most people who are on a time of use rate, the general time of use rate is, the highest electricity costs are from 4 to 9 p.m. So really trying to avoid using any electric appliances during that time is key. You can also raise your AC set point. Try 78 degrees when you're home and 85 degrees when you're away. A programmable thermostat handles this automatically, so you don't have to think about it. Switch to LEDs. This is something we've been doing for decades. LEDs use up to 80% less energy than incandescent bulbs and last about a decade. So you don't need to replace them all at once. Just swap each one out as the incandescent one burns out. And then back to laundry, run full, and I guess dishwashers, run full loads only. Yeah, your dishwasher and washing machine use the same amount of energy, whether they are half empty or completely full. It's an easy habit to build and a consistent saver. Okay, we're moving on to efficiency. So before you invest in solar panels and a new heat pump and heating and cooling system, it's a good idea to start with this foundation. Sealing and insulating your home pays off immediately and makes your future upgrades more effective. The Bay Area's mild climate actually makes this possible. So basic weatherization delivers great comfort and saves on your bills year round. Air sealing is the highest return efficiency upgrade you can make. Focus on your attic, crawl space, and walls. These are where conditioned air quietly escapes and drives up your energy costs without you even noticing. Insulation works with air sealing. So, properly insulating your attic, basement, and walls keeps the air you've already paid to heat or cool inside your home for comfort. And weather stripping doors and windows is a great starting point. It's affordable, it's DIY friendly, and you'll feel the difference right away. Um, and the Bayren Ease program is a wonderful program that helps many Bay Area residents. It's a 9 county Bay Area program that makes weatherization and energy upgrades affordable. It covers 80% of the cost of weatherization and even a new induction cooktop. You pay just 20%. And it uses vetted contractors so you don't have to do the legwork. That's a huge bonus in my book. Um, to get started, Bayren sends a contractor to assess your home for free, and income limits vary by county, but they are really quite generous. I was just looking at this today. Like in Contra Costa County, for example, a family of 4 with a household income of up to 187,000 qualifies. So we're going to put that link in the chat. Check the link to see if you qualify. It's definitely worth doing before committing to any projects, any home improvement projects. So rooftop solar is one of the most impactful upgrades you can make. And the Bay Area is a strong market for it, even if you live in one of those foggy microclimates. A site-specific assessment is a good starting point. And in terms of system size, the right size for your home depends on your current usage, your roof space, and what you're planning to electrify. So if an EV or a heat pump or any electrical appliance is in your future, plan for that now. It's much more cost effective than expanding your solar array later. When choosing a contractor, we suggest that you get at least 3 bids, not just for price comparison, but because the conversation itself will teach you a lot about the person that you will work with, the contractor you'll work with. Verify that any contractor you consider is a licensed California contractor with a state licensing board. And if someone shows up at your door selling solar, this seems to happen from time to time, that's a reason to be cautious, not a reason to sign up. A note on NEM 3. California's net metering policy changed a couple of years ago, and the key takeaway is this. The rates utilities pay you for excess energy you export back to the grid are lower than they used to be. So that makes pairing solar with a battery a great idea. Storage lets you use the energy that you generate during the time when electricity is most expensive, like we talked about, typically from 4 to 9 p.m. And this is where you'll see really big savings. So home battery is great for resilience and it helps you save money. When PSPS event takes the grid down, a battery keeps your essentials appliances or your whole home even, depending on the system size, running without interruption. So no generator noise, no fuel to store, no carbon monoxide risk. It just works. Most Bay Area residents are on a time of use rate plan, which means electricity is less expensive during off-peak hours and more expensive during peak hours, typically from 4 to 9 p.m. I know I've mentioned this a few times, but it's really important. So a battery lets you charge up when rates are low and use the stored energy when they are high on a daily basis. This is huge. The battery market has developed over the past few years, and there are many options out there, and warranties and pricing have seemed to improve significantly. So get bids on a few systems and compare. Keep an eye out for V to X. That means vehicle to everything technology. Currently, some EV models offer vehicle to load capability, which allows you to power up large appliances like your refrigerator during a power outage for a week or so, even because EV batteries are really large. Join us for one of our EV webinars. The next one is coming up next week on Thursday, July 24th. Finally, don't leave rebates on the table. Use a savings calculator to find out what's available and ask your installer about them. If you could put that link in the chat, that would be great. Thank you. So I'd like to highlight two things that can make an immediate difference in how clean and affordable your electricity is. So one, the community choice aggregators and municipal utilities. If you're a PG&E customer, you may already be enrolled in your CCA without realizing it. If not, you're eligible to switch. CCAs deliver cleaner electricity automatically through your existing infrastructure. No panels, no installation, nothing changes except the source of your power. You'll see it on your PG&E bill since PG&E still delivers your electricity and your gas. All of the CCAs are listed on this slide. And if you happen to be served by a municipal utility like Alameda Municipal Power, City of Palo Alto Utilities, or there's one more I need to add to the slide, I think. You're often looking at some of the cleanest and most affordable rates in the state. Yeah, it's Silicon Valley Power, actually, which serves only Santa Clara, the city of Santa Clara. The second thing I wanted to emphasize, and I know I've already talked about this a bit, time of use rates. Once you're electrifying, especially once you have an EV, switching to a time of use rate plan is one of the highest impact, lowest effort things you can do. Electricity costs less when demand is low and more when demand is high. Typically, that we can all say it together if we weren't all muted, 4 to 9 p.m. window we mentioned earlier. Charge your EV and run your appliances during the day when solar generation is peaking, and you'll see real savings on your bill. The good news is you don't have to manage this manually. Smart chargers, programmable appliances and EVs, and home energy management systems can automate the whole thing. All right, on to the fun stuff. Now we're going to talk about electrifying our appliances. These are the 6 upgrades that can move the needle the most. This slide is a quick snapshot of each, and we'll go deeper on all of them in the slides ahead. Heat pump heating and cooling system, or HVAC. It's one system that heats and cools, no fuel burned. It's much more efficient than a gas furnace. And I'll just anecdotally say the reason I got a heat pump HVAC system was I live in an old house that gets very hot in the summers. And I think it was 2 summers ago, we had one of those week-long heat waves, and it's like 88 degrees in our house when we go to bed at night, and it feels pretty miserable. That inspired me to make the switch from having something that sounded like a helicopter taking off every time the heater went on in the morning. Now we hear nothing. It's smooth and comfortable. But yeah, so I was so excited to finally have AC, as well as very comfortable, smooth, steady warmth in my house. The heat pump water heater, it's often the fastest payback upgrade in your house. It uses way less energy than a gas water heater. The induction cooking, so faster and more precise than gas, believe it or not, and you'll enjoy clean air in the kitchen. EVs and home charging. So most EV drivers save with incentives and with the low cost of charging and maintenance. When you charge off peak or on solar, and then your cost per mile drops even further. A heat pump clothes dryer uses half of the energy of a conventional dryer, is gentler on your clothes. And because it's ventless, it can go anywhere, a closet, a garage, wherever it works. And finally, electric landscaping equipment. No gas, no oil, no fumes, and significantly quieter. For most Bay Area yards, today's batteries handle a full session on a single charge. Your neighbors will thank you. I was so pleased when my next door neighbor switched to an electric lawnmower. It seemed like every time I wanted to work outside in the backyard, he was mowing the lawn, and it was stinky and loud, and it made a huge difference to me. Panel upgrades. So, panel upgrades come up a lot in conversations when we talk about home electrification, and there's a tendency to assume that you'll need one. The reality is more reassuring than that. So, I want to set expectations before we go into details about the appliances. So, most homes are already ready. A 100 to 200 amp panel can support many electrification upgrades without any panel work at all. Don't assume you need an upgrade until you've actually assessed your situation. Solar and battery installations may prompt a review, and that's actually a good thing. When an installer evaluates your system, use that as an opportunity to look at your overall capacity needs holistically rather than making piecemeal decisions. I know I'm not that knowledgeable about electric panels, but what I do know is that we have sort of done a little bit here, a little bit there, and I just desperately want to do a reorg of my electric panel and make it look really efficient and neat and tidy, but that's not quite how it works. So planning ahead is really great. Um, Let's see. Oh, yeah. Try smart load management first. There are devices that stagger when your appliances run so that your panel never has to handle everything at once. This can maximize your existing capacity at a fraction of the cost of a full panel upgrade. And it's worth exploring before you commit to a big expense. So, a simple example is using a smart splitter on a single 240-volt outlet to share it between your EV and your clothes dryer. So you get both without adding a new circuit. Uh, Pro tip, if you're considering a heat pump water heater or an induction cooktop or a clothes dryer, look at the 120-volt plug-in versions first. These appliances come in 120 models that work with a standard household outlet. No electrician or panel grade needed. My family went this route with an induction cooktop, and it made the transition significantly easier. The bottom line, get an assessment before assuming that you need a panel upgrade. You may already have everything you need. Okay, moving on to the six appliances. We'll kick it off with the heat pump for heating and cooling. A heat pump doesn't burn fuel, it moves heat. So in winter, it pulls warmth from outdoor air and brings it inside. And in summer, it does the opposite. That's why it can be so much more efficient than a gas furnace. It replaces both your furnace and AC in one system. And if you don't have AC yet, which was my case, this is a huge perk. You get a two-in-one. Paired with the time of use rate and or solar, the efficiency gains show up significantly on your monthly bill. And because the airflow is gentler and more consistent than forced air gas, you can get steadier temperature and better humidity throughout your home. It really feels more comfortable. And as we mentioned earlier, heat pumps perform best in well-sealed, well-insulated homes. So if you've done that weatherization work first, you'll really get the most out of this upgrade. Heat pump water heaters work on the same principle as heat pump heating and cooling systems. They extract warmth from the surrounding air and transfer it to the water rather than generating heat from scratch. That's why they save so much energy. The average household saves around $500 a year when they make the switch. For many homes, this is the single fastest payback upgrade that you can make. So, in terms of placement, these units are flexible: garages, utility closets, even outdoors. In my case, I had a tankless water heater and had limited space indoors. So, placement took some creative thinking, and it's outside in my backyard, kind of tucked away a little bit next to its companion heat pump. And 120 volt models are available. They take up less panel space and are a great fit for households that are already cutting back on hot water use. For larger households, a 240 volt model offers faster recovery. And as a bonus, heat pump water heaters pull warmth from the surrounding air, naturally dehumidifying the space, which is a nice perk in a garage or basement. So the induction range is um, the appliance that surprises most people. If you've heard that you can't give up your gas cooktop, this slide might actually change your mind. So the pan is the heating element. There's no flame and no heat wasted into the kitchen. The energy goes directly into your food. The result is that water boils twice as fast and temperature response is instant and precise. And here's a fun fact: many former gas range lovers say it's actually more controllable than gas, not less. It eliminates indoor air pollution. Gas cooktops release nitrogen dioxide and other combustion emissions directly into your kitchen air, and induction produces none. For families with kids or anyone with respiratory concerns, this could make a meaningful difference. So, cookware compatibility is easy to check. Um, I got a magnet with my cooktop, so I'll cast iron and most stainless steel work fine. You just hold a magnet to the bottom of your pot. If it sticks, it works. And 120 volt options are available, and they're easy to install. Just plug in and start cooking. Some even come with built-in batteries, so dinner's on the table if the power goes out. The one that I got does. So it was kind of funny. The first night after that we had installed it, we lost power in our house, which doesn't happen very often, and not a problem for us because we had battery backup that allows me to cook 5 meals using all 4 burners. So if there is a power outage, that was kind of the thing that was a little tough for me because I was like, if we lose our power, if I have my gas stove, I can still, boil water and make food. But with this battery now and the induction cooktop, it was a no-brainer. This is also a really nice bonus. The surface is safer and easier to clean. The glass only heats where the pan sits and cools quickly thereafter. So there's a lower burn risk and there are no baked on spills. All you need is soap and water and a sponge, and you're good to go, which is so different from the gas range that I had before, which was such a pain to clean. If you're not ready to commit, you can start small. A portable induction cooktop runs under $100. I just saw one on Amazon for $79. It plugs into any outlet and is a great way to try one out before replacing your range. It's great for camping, especially if you have one of those EVs with an outlet. And PG&E and other agencies and organizations have lending programs, so you can try out an induction cooktop, and depending upon where you live, there may actually be rebates. Check it out. Um, I did that. I did the PG&E lending library. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. I'm like, let's check this out. How does it actually work? So I received a package with a 2-plate induction cooktop, plugged it in, tested it out for a week, saw that it worked just fine, returned it, and that was my inspiration for getting an induction cooktop. And a few hot tips. An electric kettle uses 80% less energy than stovetop boiling. And an air fryer can cut cooking energy up to 75%. I can cook a whole meal in mine, put a little salmon, some potatoes in there, and we're good to go. Easy wins, no installation needed. So the EV landscape has never been better. There are over 100 models available across sedans, SUVs, and trucks at a wide range of price points. What I always say is there's an EV for every budget and lifestyle at this point. Used EVs are increasingly compelling too. Pre-owned models under $20,000 are common, many still carrying years of battery warranty, which is 8 years or 100,000 miles. The driving experience is an upgrade. There's instant torque, a quieter ride, no oil changes, and significantly fewer brake replacements because of regenerative braking. Most people don't go back. The average Bay Area owner saves $1,000 to $1,500 a year on fuel, and that's before factoring in off-peak charging or solar. I would venture to say maybe even more in the last half year since things have been a little bit volatile in the gas market. Um, the Bay Area residents may qualify for additional savings. The Bay Area Air District and local utilities and California CCAs offer income-based rebates, and the state rebate will be starting soon. It's called My First EV, and it will be available for $3,500 for a new EV and $1,750 for a used EV. And as the title states, it's for first-time EV buyers. We're hoping to see that later this summer or early this fall. We'll keep you notified when that happens. There are also EV programs through our Ride and Drive Clean initiative that are worth checking out before you buy. Currently, we're running an EV discount program with exclusive savings up to $2,000 on 4 very popular EVs. If we could get that link in the chat, Kevin or Scott, that would be amazing. Thank you. Let's see. Charging at home is simpler than most people expect. A standard 120-volt outlet adds enough to replenish typical daily driving in 8 hours. A level 2 240-volt charger adds about 25 miles per hour and fully tops up most EVs as needed. Installation typically runs from $1,000 to $2,000. I would say $500 to $2,000. Prices have gone up a little bit. If you have solar, you're effectively driving on sunshine. I love that. Programming your car to work with time of use rates are key here. For example, I have my EVs set to never charge after 3 p.m. I'm on a special EV time of use rate plan, so it's advantageous for me to charge between midnight and 3 p.m. But all of the utilities I work with ask me to let people know that the best time to charge an EV is during the day when the sun is shining, so that we can get all that solar energy in our EVs, whether it's coming from your own roof or from the grid. All right, so a standard clothes dryer blows hot air through your clothes and vents it outside, wasting most of the energy in the process. A heat pump dryer captures that heat, removes the moisture, and recirculates the warm air back into the drum. That's why it uses about 50% less energy per cycle. This could be a savings of, around $50 a year on electricity, depending, of course, on how much you do laundry or how many times you actually use your clothesline or your dryer, your little dryer stand. It's also, so no vent means it can go anywhere. A closet, a bathroom, anywhere with a standard outlet and a drain. For homes where venting is difficult or impossible, this is a real game changer. And it's also gentler on clothes. Lower operating temperatures mean less shrinkage, less wear, and colors that stay brighter longer. Installation is usually straightforward. Most laundry rooms already have a 240-volt outlet for a standard electric dryer. If yours does, it's a straight swap with no electrical work needed. And if you don't have that, a 120-volt outlet will work out just fine as well. Finally, um, here's a stat that tends to surprise people. One gas mower running for an hour produces emissions equivalent to driving roughly 300 miles. Gas lawn equipment is among the most polluting things in the average household, and thankfully, the easiest to replace. Battery powered alternatives produce zero exhaust and run much quieter. They require essentially no maintenance, no oil changes, just charge them and go. Operating costs are lower too, and you'll never have to deal with a gas can again. For most Bay Area yards, today's batteries handle a full session in a single charge. It is one of the most satisfying swaps on this list, particularly for your neighbors. No, but seriously, it is, when you're using your lawn equipment, you breathing in all of that, all of those fumes is not a great thing for anyone. So it's a great one to switch. And this is one of the most affordable options. All right, so let's talk a little bit about money. You don't need to, sorry, let me see. Sorry. The incentive landscape in California is changing all of the time. And even since the last webinar that I did in May. So it's really good to be like checking in often about this kind of thing. Stacking multiple rebates on a single upgrade is sometimes possible. And here's what to know. The switch is on, is a reliable, up-to-date source to learn which incentives you qualify for, depending upon where you live and who provides your electricity and your income. Your electricity, yeah, and based on your income as well. California Tech Clean offers rebates for heat pump HVAC and water heaters, and more through participating contractors. But funding is limited and it's not always available. So check availability early. I know when we got ours, our contractor had to apply for it and like reserve the rebate first. And then the contractor actually received the rebate and then passed it on to me. Your utility or CCA may layer additional rebates on top of the above. So PG&E, municipal utilities, and local CCAs all run their own programs, and they change periodically. So check in with your CCA. It's always a good idea to see what's available before you buy, because some of those incentives you need to garner before you purchase. And then cities, local government incentives can be combined to maximize total savings. Again, using a savings calculator to see where you can save is a great idea. We're going to drop the switches on incentive finder in the chat now. So you don't need to own a home to make meaningful progress on electrification. Renters and condo owners have more options than most people realize. Start with what you can plug in. A portable induction burner, an air fryer, and an electric kettle can meaningfully reduce your gas stove use today. No installation, no landlord permission needed. A plug-in heat pump unit offers efficient heating and cooling without permanent installation. You could also get a dryer, an electric dryer, a heat pump dryer as well. LED lighting and smart power strips are instant wins for you. And don't underestimate your leverage with your landlord or HOA. You can request EV charging at your parking spot. Ask about building-wide solar or battery programs, and inquire about renter-specific rebates through your CCA or utility. Many don't know these programs exist. You may be doing them a big favor by asking. And, kind of the squeaky wheel thing, the more people ask, the more willing your property manager or property owner or HOA will be willing to move in that direction. You can also reference the 2027 and 2029 Bay Area Air District mandates. landlords will be required to go electric when replacing water heaters and HVAC systems. So the conversation is worth starting now. Before we close, I want to make sure you leave with the resources to get started. So here's what we recommend. The Switches On is a great starting point. It's a practical, easy to navigate guide for homeowners, which provides electrification contractors and information on incentives at any stage of your electrification journey. Your local CCA or utility offers clean energy options and may offer rebates specific to your area. And BayREN's Efficiency and Sustainable Energy Home Program, otherwise known as EASE, helps income eligible residents in the 9 counties of the Bay Area make energy upgrades that improve health and home comfort. We'll share these links in the chat now. I would suggest that everyone on this call check out the BayREN EASE program. You never know, you might qualify for something, and it's easy. So a little bit more about Cool the Earth and our organization, a little more about our Ride and Drive Clean program, which you might already be familiar with. Um, so in general, I just want to say the future is electric, and we are here to help you electrify your life. Here are some of the programs that we offer, and we hope you can join us for these programs and more programs to come. We're running some exclusive EV discounts on 4 new EVs right now and through the month. We are going to be running an EV savings program to help you navigate getting a pre-owned EVs and all the rebates that come along with that. That will take place a little later this year. And we offer EV expos and shows and webinars throughout the year. Um, we just finished a very busy spring with 8 programs, 8 EV shows, and we're scheduling some for the end of summer and early and fall as well. And because you signed up for this webinar, you will be added automatically to our newsletter. I hope that's okay with you. Feel free to unsubscribe if you don't find this information to be useful, but we hope you stick around so that you can get updates on, for example, the state EV rebate or, any other rebates for home electrification that come about. And we'll let you know about upcoming programming as well. Okay, before I know some people might sign off before the Q&A if you've gotten enough information, but I just wanted to take a moment to thank everybody for spending an hour with us today. And we hope that the information that you learned was helpful and keeps you going on your journey to home electrification. Okay, it's time for our Q&A. I'm going to stop sharing so we can see each other's faces a little more. And I'm going to allow everybody to, let's see, to unmute themselves if you would like at this point. Okay, Lucinda, I see your question.
Yeah, I know that my first EV, I think it just came out. I saw a brief report on it yesterday, and I'm just wondering uh, if you know if this is going to be layerable with the PG&E has a
Yes.
rebate program for used, which
Yes.
is based on income. Are the two of them?
It should be stackable. I mean, typically they are, and I would say I'm 99% sure that it will be stackable with PG&E rebates, and also if you get your electricity from a CCA or a muni, they may have also stackable rebates. So I do know, for example, with some of the grant programs like Clean Cars for All or Drive Clean Assistance Program, they stack with the PG&E rebate as well as CCA rebates. So I imagine there's no reason to think that this would not.
Okay, great. One other question. Do you know if the My First EV is going to be available for plug-in hybrid?
Yes.
I know PG&E's, it covers both full EVs and plug-in, so
Yes.
the state
Yeah.
program
It's
as
for
well?
plug-in hybrid
Hybrid?
electric as well. As long as it plugs in, it's eligible.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's wonderful news.
Any other live questions? Feel free to raise your hand, or you can even unmute yourself if you would like. I'm going to take a brief look. I know I have several colleagues checking out the chat here. So hopefully there are no questions. But yeah, Rebecca.
Annika, I think most of the questions got answered, and I'll do another quick review, but there was one at the very end about heat pump water heaters. And James is asking, is it always on, like an on demand, like a gas tankless water heater? And I can tell you that a heat pump water heater is programmable. So you decide when you want it to run. So in my house, I also have it running during the midday, because I do have solar, but also that is when rates are lowest and there's the most clean electricity on the grid coming from solar. And so you choose when you want it to run. No, it is not always on. The tank is extremely well insulated. So for example, I heat up my water midday when there's the most solar, then it's quiet, and we happen to be a family that showers at night. So when everybody's home visiting, all four of us can use that hot water that was heated during the day.
I'm in the same situation. I did actually, I recently installed mine, I guess it was last year, and it is required to be on sort of a managed system, but it does ensure that it is being charged, the water is being heated in the middle of the day for efficiency. But also with my induction cooktop, I reached out to the service people, and they have it also charging every day from 10 to 2 p.m. so that I know that it's going to be full if we do get a power outage. I've only had to use the battery once. We've only had one power outage in the last year, but it's good to know that it's there.
And Annika, this is a question just came into the chat that hasn't been answered. And I don't know if any of our electric coaches are aware of this, of solar panels, a company that installs in parking lots. That might be more of a commercial scenario, Laura. Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, I'm going to try to propose that for our HOA.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I would reach out. I don't know who you get your electricity from, whether it's PG&E or CCA. I would definitely reach out to them because many of them have um, multifamily housing rebates for installation of solar and other things. So definitely something yeah, they would be a good point.
Oh, that's a good point. I tried to actually install solar panels in my condo, but there were some restrictions on the battery, space and stuff. So I wasn't able to do that. And then the next thing I was thinking, oh, maybe I can install it in the parking lot and then have it for the entire complex.
That's wonderful. I think that would, yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, especially, I mean, I know one of the jobs that I had, I was a teacher and I would come out to the parking lot at 4 p.m. at the end of the day, and my car was like 120 degrees on, hot days. And it's so nice to have those solar kind of parking lots to cool off your cars. And then,
yeah, they serve a dual purpose, right?
Totally. Yeah, it makes so much sense in California.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll research it.
There's also a question in the chat that I know we could answer, but if one of our electric coaches want to pipe in about explaining with the heat pump water heater the difference of the 120 volt and 240. So does one of our electric coaches want to just go off mute and briefly explain that? And if not, I can do it.
If Jim doesn't want to give it a shot, I can. I mean, I have a 240, so but my understanding is the 120, just from conversations with contractor, if your water needs are not, like if it's, you've got a family of 2 or 3, 120 should be adequate, but it really depends on your water needs. So, I mean, that's my understanding. I don't know, Rebecca, if you have any other thoughts on that.
Well, Carlene just put in, Carlene, I know you installed a 120. How many people in your household, how many people have used that comfortably over a day?
Yeah, so right now it's just my husband and myself, and but we had 4 additional people in our house over the holidays for several days, and we didn't run into any problems at all with having enough hot water. So we didn't think about it. We didn't ration or try to do anything different. So we were really happy with that. We have a 65-gallon 120-volt hot water heater, and yeah, so it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, so I think yours is 65 gallons. I have a 240-volt water heater that has 43 gallons. And even when my college daughters come home and, the hair thing and everything, it has worked fine for 4 people.
Yeah, I was surprised at how easy it was to install. We had a plumber come. That was a really quick visit. They took care of the permitting, and we had a 120-volt outlet nearby. So we just plugged it in, and yeah, really, really great. And the plumber purchased it from Home Depot for us. So that was, yeah, that was great.
Does it make sense to put a heat pump water heater in vacation mode on a daily basis if you only use the hot water for a very short duration of the day? I don't think that really matters because it's only going to heat, it keeps the water hot and for a long time. I mean, I'm not even aware of that setting, but but I guess that is a good thing to
So
think
Annika,
about.
I use vacation mode. So that is, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. So if you are going to be away for a few days, yes, you can put it in vacation mode. As I said, all the heat pump water heaters are programmable. They have apps. But even if you're going to use it for a short time, you just put it in heat pump mode. It only heats the tank. It superheats it to what it needs. And if you don't use a lot, it just won't run as long. So for those of us who have heat pump water heaters, we can tell you some days it runs less or more depending on how much we've used. It just basically refills the tank, and the tank is super insulated.
Yeah, I'll say one other thing. So we did have a 50-gallon hot water heater previously, and the recommendation is to increase it somewhat, with the 120-volt. And so we did that from 50 gallons to 65 gallons.
Annika, Brian in the chat was just asking if the new California EV rebate, I don't know if it's available yet. He's asking for a link. I know it's coming, but
Yes.
if you're aware of one, put it in. And then Marian, your question about other rebates, just as Annika said, the tech funds that she mentioned, that funding kind of comes and goes as the state budget allows for it. So this, I know there was some comments about the switches on. Sometimes there's a bit of a lag, but it is the kind of the best starting point. They try very hard to be as up to date. That's for anything having to do with home electrification. And Annika will also share one for EVs separately.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and just there are a lot of cities that have rebates as well. So Albany has, there are different rebates here and there. And then the community choice aggregators have them as well. Not all of them. So the switch, if you go to the switches on and you enter your zip code, they'll let you know what in the home electrification realm is available for you. And then you can separately check for EVs. And I'm sorry, Marianne, you were saying something?
No. I live in Richmond, but I don't know if you are aware of anything particular there.
For MCE, yes. So you're in MCE.
Right.
And I do think that there is, I'm going to check it right now. I feel like there might be a heat pump water heater, but let me check.
There is a rebate for heat pump water heaters.
That's just what I need.
Yes.
I know.
I mean,
my furnace is 25 years old and
oh, wow.
But I'm low income and
Great. Then if you also want to connect with me or, when I send the follow-up email, you can respond and I'll look out for you as well.
Wonderful. I need some help with this.
Yes,
My senior mind gets
navigate.
Confused with it, but
yes,
this is a great webinar. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy it's helpful and that it's hopeful for you.
Yes.
Yeah, and Marion, we can also connect you with Lucinda, or you can with Lucinda or James or Lewis, who was on the call. They don't live in Richmond, I know that. I'm your neighbor in El Cerrito, and I'm familiar with MCE's rebates. But Annika can help connect you, and I'll just drop. I'm going to give everyone again. This is the generic email that I check to get a coach. And that is they're just volunteers. So there's no cost. They have no kickbacks. They're just doing this because they really believe in it and want to support others.
Yeah, I believe in it too. But
I was just going to mention that, and I'm not sure about Richmond, but it is true in Albany and many of the local rebates, they are income based. And so people who are low income get entitled to a greater rebate than moderate income, and high income often just has a lower rebate. But that's something to consider too. I'm not sure about Richmond though.
okay. Thank you, everybody.
I just dropped the link to the MCE EV rebate right there. So the process at MCE is to connect with a contractor first. So they have a list of contractors that they work with, and they procure the rebate for you.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yeah.
I work in two programs. They're both income-based. They're PG&E programs for full home electrification. And one's called Empower My Home. So the best thing is for people to, Google it and see if their neighborhood qualifies. And it's income and neighborhood. And it's PG&E to full electrification.
Wow,
And
that's
you either
wonderful.
nothing or pay a very small, like a 20% copay.
Yeah, there's one electrify my block, which is in El Cerrito, Richmond. I volunteer with it, but the kind of difficulty is that everyone in the particular zone has to agree to fully electrify, and sometimes the zones are very small, only 2 homes, but most of them are about 10 homes. So that's what can be challenging. And is this I know you said Empower? Is it Empower?
Yeah, so hold on. Yeah.
I think it's there's another name for it, I believe. The Oakland program is.
Yeah, I work in them. So
Okay.
and I was called on. So here,
Might be a different name.
I just added Empower My Home, the link to the Zoom chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's the other program, Brian, that you work with?
Thank you. So Empower My Home, and then does not need your neighbors to qualify.
Okay, great.
So,
I wasn't aware of that.
again, this is like full electrification, and customers may be able to opt to keep an appliance, but it's PUC funded, so it doesn't stack. It's either a small copay or absolutely no cost to the customer. And it's places where they know they have to upgrade the gas infrastructure. So that's helping with the budget. In other words, PG&E has this money allotted to tear up the streets and to the house. So there's Empower My Home, which again, your neighbors don't need to be a part of it. And then there is the Powerful Neighborhoods, which is
that's the one I'm familiar with. Powerful Neighborhoods requires the zone.
Right.
Same thing with Electrify My Block requires the zone.
Right, so I just want to make sure
I know about that.
So I just want to make sure those are out there. If you put them on a resource list, that these pay quite a bit, but they don't move fast.
Right.
Just not going to happen in 2 or 3 months.
This is great to know. And I'm kind of curious, since we already know that the BayREN program offers like 80% of the cost for a lot of upgrades. I'm curious if that works with the PG&E program, or if BayREN is using the PG&E program, or if it's completely separate.
They're separate because the BayREN program is actually a little bit high. Actually, both of these are a little bit higher than the old low income limit they had. But these programs, it's not a rebate. It's just covered by the the CPUC. That most rebates that we think are PG&E or a big utility or BayREN, that's where the money comes from. The CPUC funds.
So is this for? Oh, sorry.
Brian, could I ask what kind of outreach is being done for this Empower My Home program? And is it brand new?
I can't give you a clear The best thing people could do is go onto the portal,
Yeah, I'm looking
enter
at
the
that.
information,
Mhm.
and Resource Innovations is the implementer. So they're
I see that.
handling
Mhm.
intake,
Yeah. Resource
right?
Innovator is a contract with
Implement.
community to do the outreach or the
They're
the
the
actual
implement.
install. Okay.
What is it called?
I'll type it in, Resource.
Okay, wonderful.
So if you look at the bottom of the webpage, you'll see them
Yeah, I
listed.
see their name. They're actually there on the top.
Oh, okay.
Resource,
Yeah. Oh, Resource
Resource
Innovations. I see
Innovations.
that. Very nice. And can I ask, is this for multifamily or is this for single family?
Single family, and there's a commercial component that I know nothing about.
Okay.
But if you look on the website, you'll see there's a commercial component. But I don't know anything about those. And again, it really goes to Resource Innovations, and they'll reach back out to customers because it's not fast moving.
It does look like there's an income requirement. You get fully paid
Yeah.
for if you're under a certain income or reduced cost if you're so there are income requirements.
Correct.
Okay.
But you said they were quite generous?
They're about double what the CARE program used to be.
Wow.
For example,
Nice.
like you get reduced cost, a family of two, income has to be 84.6 or less. So they're pretty low. I mean, there are a lot of people in the Bay Area that would not qualify for this. And free is very low. Family of two has to be under 52,875.
But some people will qualify, and that's really
Yeah.
great to know.
Yep.
From an equity perspective, it's really nice to know that these programs exist and that we can share them with, eligible residents.
Did the CARE program stop? I used to be
No.
on it, and suddenly it's no longer. I'm no longer getting it, and
You have to
even though
reapply every year. So, I mean, the same thing happened to my mother-in-law who's low income. She was on it and she just didn't get the notice or whatever to reapply, and like 6 months later. And unfortunately, they don't retroactively. So probably what happened is you didn't reapply, and you should
Wow. Yeah, good time to reach out.
I have a letter though that says I'm good until 28, but they just dropped me.
I would definitely reach out to customer service
Okay,
to find out.
another call to make.
I know, right? And they all take get in
Yeah.
line. I know. I feel your pain. Okay. Anything else? Wait, implement a reason. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Brian, for sharing those excellent resources with us.
Yes, thanks, Brian.
I just really wanted to thank everybody who's here, who is, helping out. This is such a wonderful collaboration, and I'm thrilled to be learning new information that I didn't have in my slideshow that I can perhaps add. So I appreciate everybody who came, my colleagues at Cool the Earth, Rebecca from City of Berkeley, as well as our electrification specialist from Rewiring My Home. So thank you all for attending.